Today we break down the hitting mechanics of Andrew McCutchen. To learn more, stay tuned. Hey, what's going on, fellas? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. Today we're looking at Andrew McCutchen, one of the top hitters in the league for the last bunch of years, really. And we're just going to kind of break down his hitting mechanics. We're going to watch his swing, and I'm just going to talk about, excuse me, what I see. If you guys have followed us in the past, we've put up tons of videos on swing mechanics, so you probably have an idea of some of the things and the philosophies and the principles that we believe in. But today I want to just kind of watch McCutchen and just kind of talk about what he does. And in the comment section below, you guys can put down what you see. Sometimes people see things differently. And so I'm going to kind of talk about what I see, what I think he's doing, um, and why he's doing it, and why I think it helps him be successful. And you guys can put down in the comment section below maybe some things that you see. Maybe we see them the same, maybe we see them different. But I think it'd be cool to kind of go through McCutchen, and we'll go through a bunch of different guys. I'll throw guys up here over the next couple of days. So let's kind of start here from when he picks his foot up and he starts to move out. So, for me, when he starts to make this move forward, right, when he picks his foot up, and it's something that we talk about with a lot of our hitters, but I think it's important to be able to feel like you're coiled, like you're gathered, however you want to put it. You want to feel like you're coiled or gathered around this back leg, this right leg. To do that, what you want to think is it's a feeling, and it's a couple of things. We've talked about this in the Josh Donaldson video last week. If you haven't checked that one out, check it out. Donaldson talks about trying to get into his back hip, feeling the weight get around his back leg. For me, to have players do that, first you have to have good posture. So the feeling is like you're going to have your chest slightly over the plate, and you're really going to have your butt kind of pushed out. It's like somebody kind of grabs you uh, on the belt loop from back here, and it's kind of tugging your butt up and out this way. All right. The other thing that you can feel to kind of give you this feeling of getting around your right leg and feeling like you're gathered around that leg is to feel like you're more pushing into the ground through your heel and not so much on your toe. That's going to give you that feeling when you feel like you're a little bit more in your heel. It gives you a feeling of getting into that leg a little bit more and using your almost into your glute instead of when guys get on their toes, they feel like they're a little bit more on their knee. When you feel like you can get around this leg in this back hip a little bit more, it's going to give you a feeling like when you start to move out, like you can control this move a little bit more. You can decide kind of when to get this front foot down, and you can stay. It's going to keep you centered. So talk about kind of being centered here. If you kind of draw a line right through him, take a line right up the middle of him, kind of through his head, through the middle of his body, as he moves, his head kind of stays over his belly button, pretty much between his feet. I call it staying behind the ball this way. You don't want your upper body to get pushed out in front or over your front leg. And what happens is when you get in your toe or a little bit more in your knee and you make this move, you get forward. And then the swing really starts to break down. So he's staying balanced. You'll hear hitters talk about, oh, I got to stay balanced. For me, it's getting around the right leg, into the back hip, feeling like you're in your glute a little bit more so you can control the move out and stay centered. Stay in this position where, again, if we draw that line right up through him, he's not going to be forward of that line, right? So now he's in a really balanced, athletic position where he's going to be able to turn really well and stay behind the ball. So that's the first thing, is getting into the back leg, feeling like you're getting into your hip, and being able to control that move as you start to move forward. All right. Second thing, while that is happening, so while you see players start to move, and again, I'm going to show you the move because some of these things go against what a lot of coaches will teach. So if I put a line kind of right here on his back hip, you're going to see there's clearly a move forward, right? So his body moves out as a unit. Again, he's staying centered. I call it staying centered. You can call it staying balanced, whatever you want to call it. But he's definitely moving forward. He's not jumping, right? It's a controlled move. He's around his right leg, but he is definitely moving forward. Okay. While he's making that move, as the lower body advances forward, you're going to see that the upper body is pretty much doing the opposite. So you're going to see that he's pulling the upper body back. You're going to see his hands are moving a little bit up and a little bit towards that dugout, right? So you have this forward advance of the lower body, and you have a pullback of the upper body. So for one, it's going to allow him again to feel like he's staying centered. So lower body's moving out, and the upper body's kind of counterbalancing that and pulling back to give him a feeling of being balanced, feeling centered as he's moving out. Okay. But the main thing, and every good swing you see, there is some of this in the swing. Now, some guys might not pull back as much. You can see here he really kind of rows back or pulls back. Some guys you won't see it happen as much, but almost everybody is going to pull back there. All right. So the feeling is like I'm using my back. It's almost a feeling of a row where I'm pulling back with my back. I'm using my back. You'll hear people talk about using the scap. That's kind of the big thing now. I know a lot of coaches and a lot of players probably don't even know what a scap is, right? When I was younger and I was hitting, I had no idea what a scap was. But now it's kind of the big thing to talk about. What you want to feel is a feeling of basically pulling back, using your back, and feeling a resisting of the upper body. Josh Donaldson in his video, we talked about it again a little bit. He talks about feeling like there's a string pretty much attached from his hands to his front foot. And he's trying to stretch that string as he moves forward. So again, if you imagine that as the string, you can see how much that has been stretched. So that's the feeling. I'm resisting with my upper body as my lower body is moving forward. I'm pulling back. If it's a rubber band, an elastic, like just like if I put it around my thumb and I want to shoot that rubber band, I'm going to pull that band back as far as I can to store energy so that I can then release it. So this is the storing of energy. I'm trying to store energy in my body so that I can release it. The more I can store, the more I can release. Pull back, pull back, pull back. As I'm moving, I've stored the energy. Now I can release. A lot of hitters, in my opinion, they don't store the energy properly. And again, if you don't store it, well then you can't release it. You can't create as much to hit with. So what this really does for you, storing energy, we talked about that. It stores energy, yes, but in the swing needs to work in a certain sequence, right? If you really want to be able to create a lot of bat speed, a lot of energy. Most high level swings, most elite swings, you're going to see everything work from the ground up, right? You're going to see a total body swing. When you resist with your upper body, when you pull back and resist, it allows the lower body to really work, and it allows the bat to be basically the last part of the chain, the last thing to come through the zone, and it allows it to be able to come through with a whole lot of bat speed. Players that aren't able to get this move, that do not get the pullback while the body's moving forward, they usually end up being more upper body dominant hitters. So they use the upper body, they use the arms, or they use the hands to throw the bat at the ball, and they're not using their whole body. So guys that, typically those players will have lower halves that don't really work, and all the power, all the energy, all the bat speed is trying to be created from the upper body. It looks more of a top down swing instead of a ground up swing. And it causes a lot of issues. It causes not only bat speed issues, but it causes bat path issues. Causes a bunch of issues. So now we've got the pullback. We've moved into the ball. We're about to land. The next thing that you're going to see with, not only McCutchen, but pretty much every high level hitter is as his front foot starts to get into the ground and his leg starts to turn. So basically his back leg is going to start to turn. You see the hips starting to open. You're going to notice that the upper body and the way the bat is turned is different than what most hitters try to do, or young hitters try to do, what most coaches teach. Most teach, throw your hands at the ball, short to the point of contact, down to the ball, not to the ball. And what you see from most elite hitters is not a down to the ball action, but a turning action where the barrel is being turned. And most good hitters, the bat actually goes backwards. So it's not a direct A to B swing. It's a turning action. So as the back leg starts to turn, the bat starts to turn, and they work together. So you can see the bat right here. If you watch the hitter's forearms and hands, it's turning the bat, not pushing the bat. So as the back leg turns and the lower body starts to turn, the bat's turning. This is going to do a lot of things. First, it's going to accelerate the barrel, right? So instead of pushing it, I'm turning it, and I'm able to swing the bat instead of pushing it. It allows the whole body, again, to create energy. But it also lets my bat get into the hitting zone early. Now when he starts going here, this video gets a little bit blurry. But when the bat is turned more, so when the bat is turned, and you've probably seen our videos and Instagram posts and all that about turning the bat rearward. But when the bat gets turned, it allows it to get into the hitting zone early or deep. And the idea is if I can get the bat into the hitting zone early or deep back here, it allows me to stay in the hitting zone for a really long time. But it also allows me to get the bat to start working slightly up through the hitting zone, right? So I want to get into the hitting zone early because the longer I can stay in the hitting zone, again, let's draw a couple lines here. If that's the pitch path, I want to try to get in here early and start getting on path with the ball and staying there for as long as I can to give myself as big an area to impact the ball as possible, right? So I get rid of all these again. We kind of draw this. If I'm in the zone for a really long time, my timing doesn't have to be as perfect. So I'm able to hit the ball deep. If I'm a little late, I can hit the ball deep. I can drive the ball to right field. If I'm on time, I can hit the ball, about right here, drive the ball up the middle. If I'm early, I'm still in the hitting zone. I can pull the ball. So my timing doesn't have to be as good. I have a bigger margin for error. I can square the ball up much more consistently. I don't have to be as on time. Okay. Hitters that end up swinging. So again, if here's the pitch path, and I know I skipped over this again if you've seen our videos before. Pitchers throwing from an elevated mound overhand to a catcher downhill, or to a catcher that's squatted, so the ball is coming downhill. If you swing, if you do the opposite, so instead of turning the barrel, if you more A to B it down to the ball, throw the knob at the ball, all the things that most players are taught, your path gets in the zone much later. So the bat path works more like this. So you kind of miss out on this area right here to get the bat in the zone early. And you end up getting the bat into the zone a little bit later, and the window really shrinks. So now instead of hitting in an area this big, you only hit in an area this big. So now your timing has to be more perfect, right? You don't have a big margin for error. You don't have the luxury of getting in. Whoops. Didn't really want to zoom in that much there. You don't have the ability to hit the ball deep because your bat doesn't get in the zone deep. So you won't hit the ball as well to right field. Yeah, if you're perfectly on time, you've got a chance to square a ball up. But again, you don't have the luxury of being in the zone out here either. So your window shrinks, your timing has to be better. You're not going to square the ball up as much. But the other thing is, if this is the pitch path, and my goal is to drive the ball on a line, right? So if you think about, batting average, slugging percentage, doing damage at the plate, to really do damage, to drive the ball, you got to get the ball in the air, right? Now, when some people say this, people get all mad. Well, fly ball, a fly ball is an out. When I say in the air, I'm not talking about hitting fly balls, but I'm talking about hitting line drives, right? I've got to drive the ball on a line to give myself the best chance to get a hit, and then to be able to get an extra base hit, right? To be able to hit a double. And as you get older, if you're in the major leagues, if you're an Andrew McCutchen or somebody that, once you start getting some strength, you're going to be able to start hitting some home runs, right? Maybe at a lower level, it's not home runs, but maybe it's more doubles. Regardless, smashing the ball into the ground is not going to be a recipe for success, right? Unless you're in Little League and no one can field the ball. But we're talking about building a swing that's going to give you success as you start to move up the baseball ladder, okay? So our goal is to hit a line drive, right, that can carry. That'll be a base hit, be a double, maybe be a home run if you've got some strength. To give ourselves the best chance to hit that line drive, if the ball's coming in on that path, I've got to get on that same path to be able to flush the ball up and hit a line drive. So if the ball's coming on that path and I match that path and I square that thing up, you can see just from the path of the ball and where those arrows are pointed, that ball's going to be hit on a line, right? Now, obviously, if here's the ball blowing up, right? Here's my path, I'm slightly up. I square that thing up, bang, line drive, right? Single, double, whatever. If I take that same swing and I hit below the ball a little bit, maybe just below it, maybe I got a chance to hit a home run again, depending on my strength and how much bat speed I'm able to create and stuff like that. Okay. If I hit a little bit on top of that ball, then yeah, I'm going to hit a ground ball. But my chances again, when that ball's coming in like this and I swing slightly up and I impact it pretty much center, somewhere close to center, I'm going to deliver the ball back out on a line. Okay. Versus if the ball's coming in slightly down and I swing down like this, if I square that thing up, I'm probably going to smash the ball into the ground or at least hit a ground ball. Maybe if I square it up, I hit a hard ground ball. Okay. And maybe I get a single. But if I hit just on top of the ball, anywhere slightly on top of the ball, I'm going to smash the thing into the ground. Okay. And if I hit below center, because I have a really steep swing, I'm going to have a tendency to slice that thing and hit a high pop up to the infield. So one thing I see a lot is guys that really swing down on the ball are down through the zone and they hit below center, the ball goes up. Okay. So they'll slice the ball up, they'll pop up. And coaches will say, hey, you got to swing down on that ball, right? You're getting under that ball. You got to swing down. So the hitter tries to swing down more. So again, here's the ball. Hitter's going to try to swing down even more. Now he's really swinging down, right? And he hits below center again. Bang, and the ball gets popped up again. And they get yelled at. You've got to swing down. Stay on top of the ball. Swing down. And so this goes back and forth, and the hitter continues to swing down, keeps hitting below the ball goes up, and before you know it, they've got this super, super steep swing. When the adjustment has to be to get on path with the ball, get in the hitting zone earlier, get the bat working slightly uphill, and now I'm able to square a ball up and hit a line drive. So again, kind of here's him turning the barrel, back legs turning. Although it's hard to see, you can see how that bat is coming slightly up through the hitting zone, right? So it's not down on the ball, it's turning, getting into the hitting zone early, and then staying there for a long time. Right, again, a little bit tough to see, but you can really tell when that right hand or that top hand, the palm stays up for a really long time. When the path is slightly up, the palm stays up for a long time, right? The left arm or the lead arm is going to work more up than it is down. So if you watch kind of his wristband here, you're going to see that working more up, right? Again, a lot of coaches, a lot of younger levels will teach down, down, down with everything. You're going to see almost the exact opposite in elite hitters. It's more working across the chest and working up. That allows the bat to stay in the hitting zone a long time. So again, in the elite swing, everything is happening deeper back here. If we circle his head when he lands. So again, since I'm going to say this, I guess I should kind of show it here. A lot of people talk about how the head can't move anywhere, right? But during the stride, the head can move. As I'm moving my body forward and pulling my upper body back and resisting, the head can move forward as long as I stay centered and balanced and not leading with my upper body and my head. But once I land, and I land in this good position, and now I'm going to let my back leg really pull, turn, and I'm going to turn the barrel, well, now everything stays right there. And that allows me to, I call it staying behind the ball, but it gives me the ability to have everything turn and get the bat working slightly up. Right? So So my body turns, and my back can work up through the hitting zone. If I get too forward, or if I drift as I'm trying to turn, I'm not able to get the bat to turn and work up. Usually the bat will work more down. It'll be steep to the zone. It won't get into the hitting zone until late instead of early. It'll enter more in front of the plate than deep and behind, and everything gets thrown off. Swing path gets thrown off, and now timing has to be perfect. March for her goes way, way down. I'm not able to square the ball up as much. So, again, when you're watching McCutchen, for me, those are some of the big points that I see, the main things that I see. You guys may see some stuff that's different, right? When I'm watching swings, again, I try not to get caught up in the player's style. Everyone's a little bit different. But after watching tons of swings, you start to see, core things, core principles that are the same and mostly all swings. And so, what I tried to hit on today are some of those core things. So, if you have any questions on McCutchen's swing, leave them in the comment section below. If you have any comments to add, maybe you think I missed some things, maybe you see things differently, you want to have a discussion, throw them in there, we can talk about it. Share the video, subscribe to the channel for sure. We're going to start to throw up more hitters in the near future. Kind of doing the same thing, breaking it down and starting to see if we can kind of see some of the core principles and these things in all these hitters. And again, what I'm trying to do is not say what I think he's doing or what I teach, but what he's really doing. And if I start seeing guys that do stuff that go against what I talk about, well, then I'm going to try to point them out. But the whole idea is to start to watch these guys and see how they move their body, see how the bat's working through the hitting zone, and see if we can learn some stuff from them and hopefully implement some of these things into our own swings to make us better players, better hitters, and be more successful. So, also in the description box below, I've added some books I've been reading lately that I found useful that I think you guys will like, covering a bunch of different topics. Also have a section down there with some of the training tools that we use with our Antonelli Baseball players, and then I used in the past as the player that I found helped me out and helped our players out. So definitely check that out. Also follow our Instagram page, Antonelli Baseball, and follow me on Twitter, MattAntonelli9. I'm posting a lot of hitters, a lot of videos, usually multiple times a day, covering a wide variety of topics to help you guys out. Again, thank you for watching this, and hopefully help you. Good luck, and we will talk to you later.